soon be seen.
Talk about an eerie sight. The Chicago airport, one of the world's busiest, almost completely empty after the FAA issued a full ground stop on flights this morning.
Yeah, that pause in air travel only lasted a couple of hours, right? But it really upended travel plans for hundreds of thousands of travelers all over the nation, including folks right here in North Carolina, like Tamara Williams.
Well, my original flight was supposed to take off at 9:05 going to Miami, and then from Miami to Costa Rica. Well, now we've been delayed 3 times. My girlfriend arrived ahead of me. There are no more flights leaving today that would get us there on time, nor tomorrow, nor Friday. And at the very moment, our flight is set to arrive in Miami after the flight takes off to Costa Rica. So we're kind of stuck.
Planes are finally moving again after the FAA lifted the departure ban around 9 this morning. Now it's a scramble to get folks rebooked and also figure out what went wrong. The FAA blames computer programs with their NOTAM system. But what is that? And more importantly, how do we keep this from happening again? Let's dig into it. A video on the FAA's YouTube page helps it click what the computer system does.
A presidential visit restricts airspace. Airport construction shuts down a runway. For any change or unexpected hazard that affects flight, a notice to airmen goes out to pilots and controllers.
That happens through NOTAM, which stands for Notice to Air Missions.
What it basically is, provides essential information that is known in advance for every single pilot who's trying to embark in the flight.
Ramon Rodriguez is a flight instructor with Up Aviation in Greensboro. He says it would be dangerous to fly without NOTAM systems working. He thinks the FAA made the right call, grounding flights temporarily.
At the end of the day, we gotta keep the passengers safe, our pilots safe, in order to do a productive flight and very safe flight.
The Department of Transportation is investigating what caused the system to crash, and Congress is also pushing for answers.
We're hearing now that it's not a cyber attack. Well, if that's the case, how could a stable platform like that suddenly go down? Were there no backups? You know, why do we not have a backup system or a manual system to do that? So there's a lot of questions I think Congress needs to ask of the FAA.
So it's still not clear what caused the NOTAM system to go down today, but I did find internal FAA records showing the agency is right in the middle of a several-year project to overhaul NOTAM, making it more modern to match technology in other countries. This is a real government document of the FAA explaining how the transition's been going. Take a look at it. It says a summary, ... And then there's a picture of someone trying to put a square box through a round hole.
Well, travel agent Jenny Morrow with Cruise Planners says her clients were able to get on another flight pretty quickly today. She thinks the interruption in travel from the computer program should not ripple well into tomorrow.
Actually, I think we're doing very well. I'm seeing it already because, again, everybody opened up at the same time. So everybody just kind of kept their schedules. It was just a couple-hour delay.
Well, if something like this were to ever happen again, she says the best thing that you can do is get on the airline's app to rebook as soon as possible. She says it is far faster than the long lines at the airport.
I would say go to stand in the line, but do as much as you can because that line is going to be extremely long. And if you can be doing it on your app or your travel advisor can do it, you're getting additional seats before the other people in line are.
Whether it's the FAA computer problems, staffing shortages, or just weather issues, at some point, almost everyone is going to go through a flight canceled or delayed. Scammers know that, so they've set up traps for people in those desperate situations. My own mom almost fell victim to one of them. Luckily, I helped her spot the red flags in time. Here's how you can protect yourself. Flying from Texas, she had a layover in Chicago. But it was snowing there, so her flight was delayed and she was gonna miss her connection. She wanted to change her ticket. But so many people were in line, it was gonna be an hour wait. So, Mom whipped out her phone and searched United Airlines phone number. She called the first one listed. They told her she bought the cheap version of the ticket that could not be exchanged. but they were gonna do her a favor if she got a United card and used it to pay $300 to upgrade her ticket. Then they were gonna refund her the price of the original ticket plus that $300. At this point, red flags should be flying for you. That's why Mom said she would call them back and instead got a hold of me, her consumer reporter son, to see if this was on the up and up. It wasn't. I reached out to the real United Airlines. They said, unfortunately, this is a scam they've heard about before. By the way, they were able to change her ticket for me for free because of the bad weather. So how do you protect yourself? Well, for that, we need to hit rewind. So, Mom whipped out her phone and searched United Airlines phone number. She clicked on the first link in the results instead of going to the official United Airlines webpage. See, a scammer knew at some point someone was going to be desperate enough to search for that phone number. So they placed an ad that put their fake line up top. The search of the phone number shows this scammer's been busy too, with folks saying they've called victims about things like cash advance loan I never applied for, saying I'd won the lottery, collecting medical bills, even pretending to be the Federal Trade Commission. I'm just thankful the scammer's plan never took flight with my mom.
So when your travel is put on pause, there is a lot of costs that come with it. Hotels, food, rental car. Some online claims say you can keep the receipts and then get reimbursed by the airline. That's true sometimes, but not always. So Brandon Lewis verifies when airlines will and won't pay.
Are airlines legally required to pay for hotels and meals when your domestic flight is canceled? Our sources are the U.S. Department of Transportation and major U.S. airlines. Airlines are regulated by the U.S. Department of Transportation. The DOT says on its website, airlines are not required to provide passengers with money or other compensation for costs that fall outside of the canceled airline ticket and fees tied directly to the airline ticket when flights are canceled. That includes hotels and meals. So, no, airlines are not legally required to pay for hotels and meals when your domestic flight is canceled, regardless of the reason. But that doesn't always mean you're out of luck. If a flight cancellation is within an airline's control, like staffing or plane issues, then depending on the airline, they might cover meals or hotel stays. But in general, if cancellations are caused by storms or other things outside of their control, U.S. airlines aren't required to issue vouchers or cover expenses.